want to share my 2025 summer book recommendations as well as my summer TBR list. I'm just going to talk about my list as a whole, and then for my own sanity, I'm going to break it down like month by month by month as monthly hopefuls. But before we dive into anything, let's just talk about my current reads as a reading update. So, I am almost done with the third book in the Natural series called All In. This is how much I have left, if you guys can like see that. Last night it was about 74 pages and I got through some, but I didn't do the math. I didn't do the updated math. But I like it. I still think book 2 is way better. I was so hooked with that one, much more than this one. But I am enjoying it. And let's just show the bookmark of the day, if that's a thing. I don't know, but if you guys can see that, and once it focuses, it is a Virgo neutral colored bookmark. I absolutely love it. It's so cute. So yeah, that's my physical book reading update. Almost done with that. And I am also reading Exodus on my Kindle. There is just something interesting about that book series that I just cannot explain, but it makes me not want to put the book down. So I guess you can say that I am liking it and I'm invested more in the plot. So, and I hear that that one is like the most heartbreaking story out of the 3 books, or I don't even know how many there are. 3 or 4, I want to say. And I don't know. I know there was like kind of a new one. I don't know. I'll figure it out when I'm like getting there. So I am liking that one. That is on my Kindle. It's off right now, so I can't really see what percent I'm in, but I'm still like pretty early. I think I'm in the 100 pages. And then for my audiobook, I'm listening to John Green's Everything is Tuberculosis. It is an informative kind of storytelling book. So it's not really one that I am like, oh my God, I can't turn this off. But I can, because I need breaks with that one. It's kind of heavy storytelling and a lot of information. But it's John Green and it's pretty good so far. And I don't know when will be the next time I pick the book up, but hopefully soon, because I have just been really bad with audiobooks. I do have one audiobook on my summer TBR that I'll talk about. But part of me also wants to take like an audiobook break because of how I lack keeping up with them. But that's my reading update. Let's get into the books that I recommend for summer 2025 if you're looking for new books to add to your list. Some oldies and goodies that I tried to not repeat myself with repeating recommendations. So the first one that I want to talk about, though, is one of my all-time favorite ones that I read in about 4 days. And if you've been here for a good while, you know which book I'm talking about. It's this book right here called Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. Her new one just came out called One Golden Summer. So if you haven't read those yet, there you go. You have like a duology right there. It is like kind of a sequel to Every Summer After, her new one. I believe it's told from a different character's point of view from the first book. But I absolutely loved it. Ate it up in about 4 days. So that's usually my go-to book recommendation for summer, as well as this beautiful book right here. Oh, just hurt myself. As well as this beautiful, stunning edition of Beach Read. Emily Henry is just, I believe, like the go-to summer author that people should read her books during summertime. Not to say that they're not good all year long, but I think that there is just something that makes Emily Henry stick out for the summer, especially because from my understanding, her books usually do come out around the same time in like April. So I know her new one just came out, and here's my thing with Emily Henry. I am always one book behind because I am team paperback over hardcover. So in the beginning, she was releasing them as paperbacks, but because of her amazing accomplishments and becoming so popular, which is awesome, of course, we love that, you know, they're now releasing in hardcover, and I'm just like, dang. Same with Frederick Bachman, but I digress. He's another favorite of mine that I love supporting and is my favorite author. Like, he is up there, number 1. But again, it's the paperback versus hardcover idea of publishing books a certain way, or obviously releasing hardcover first. But that's not what we're talking about. I did read this as the paperback book, and I do have it, but I love this book so much that I wanted to get the hardcover special edition as a trophy book, as a collectible, because that's, first world book lovers' problems, that we have to buy trophy books and collectibles for our lovely shelves and display them. Rightfully so, actually. So yes, if you've never gotten into Emily Henry before, this is the book that I recommend to everyone who has yet to have read her work, because I believe this is the best of her best. This is just my opinion. It's okay if you think another book is better. That's your opinion and it's valid. So, being that I'm one book behind, part of my TBR list is Funny Story. I haven't read that yet, and that just came out in paperback this year. And then once her new one that released this year comes out in paperback, that's when I will decide to read it. But yes, add this one to your normal TBR or summer TBR. The title itself speaks summer, and it's the best. A book that I recommend is called The Roughest Draft. So the cover itself just speaks summer, but it is another book about writers and authors and books. So if you're a book reader who enjoys books about books and all that fun stuff, you'll like this one for sure. Now, I have another favorite author, B.K. Borison. She is up there with Frederick Bachman for me. Absolutely love her. This is book number 3 in the Love Light Farm series called Mixed Signals. You can read them all together, or you can read them as a standalone. And another thing that I don't stop talking about is how book number 2 from the series, In the Weeds, is my all-time favorite. But I picked this one to read particularly in the summertime, just because the colors look so vibrant for summer. And this one also gives you like that giddy, warm, like feet are kicking romance feeling. So if I can remember how to describe this in a nutshell, it's about Layla and Caleb. And again, you can read the other books to know where the characters come from, or you can read them as standalones. And they come together to be like, hey, I don't have the best of luck dating other people, and neither do you, right? Like, we both have that in common. So why don't we just kind of like fake date and see how we can see, like, what is it that we need to work on in order for us to put ourselves out there with dates? Like, we need successful dates. But of course, it's not a spoiler, in the midst of them like going out with these like fake dates, they fall for each other. So it's just that kind of story. So yeah, just the vibes and aesthetic, and a cute little love story if you need it for summer. I know summer, like, people tend to gravitate more towards romance, but I have a mix of like books in this list. And this is one of them that I think you should give a chance. This book I recommend is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. And obviously from the cover, the colors just give like summer vibes with yellow and bright colors and all that fun stuff. And if you kind of like this could be considered cozy magical realism, just because of the time traveling element. If you're okay handling time traveling in books, I know that could be overwhelming or a lot to keep up with or just confusing, but this one does the job pretty well. This is my first Ashley Poston book that I have read, and I liked it. I don't know what other book I should give a chance of hers, so let me know if you've read an Ashley Poston book in the comments for a good recommendation. But this is actually the first book that I have ever tabbed. I finally got into book tabbing. I had to convince myself that you don't have to tab every book necessarily, but around this time I was just like, oh, let me start tabbing my books, and this was the one to do that for me. So I liked it. It's filled with romance, a little bit of humor here and there, and grief as well is another one. And so this book made me giddy and laugh, and then it made me cry out of nowhere. So I do like this book, and if you don't have a problem with time traveling, I highly recommend this one. Switching up the genre for one quick second, this is like one of the books on my list that I always recommend as like a go-to thriller. You want to be on the edge of your seat, you want to keep turning the pages, you want to be confused in like the best way possible with like the craziest plot twists, and just be like, what is going on? I recommend The Push by Ashley Audrain. I think that's how you say her name. And this book I just could not put down, and I feel like it's a perfect summer thriller. It has to do with a woman who is a mother, and she's kind of like traumatized from her life and childhood growing up because she felt neglected and abused by her mother. So it kind of goes into all these generations of like her mother and her grandmother and her as a mother. So it just has to do with that and how she is as a mother, basically, into like the craziest journey ever. And I need another book by this author, like, as soon as possible. So that's how I feel about The Push. It's like my go-to recommendation. It's perfect for all year long, but if you want a thriller in the summertime that you don't want to put down, I highly recommend that one. Now to just jump back super quickly into a romance book. This book I actually might reread because I have not read it since high school, and I just remember that I read it on my Kindle and I could not for the life of me put it down. 20 Boy Summer, put it right here. It's a book that I have not heard talked about ever since I read it. This girl in high school told me about the book, and I tried to like put a summary somewhere. So it's so good, and I think I'm gonna reread it again. Recommend is a cozy magical realism book. I heard this one on audio and I loved it a lot. Again, I wish I paid more attention to it. I think I would have like finished the book a lot quicker, but again, I'm really bad at keeping up with my audiobooks, but I did finish it. I loved the narration, I loved the story, and I actually do want to get it as like a paperback book collectible. And that is Remarkably Bright Creatures, and just the cover itself gives all the summer vibes with the bright pop of color. You meet Marcellus, this cute little octopus, and it's one of those like oh, what's the trope? I'm butchering it. Found family. It is a cozy found family book, and it's probably like the first one that I've listened to and read of that genre. I mean, I do love my cozy books, like cozy fantasy, cozy magic realism, but like a cozy found family trope, oh my god, it just like it was the best. And how this beautiful story connected and tied everything and everyone together, I absolutely loved it. And again, the audio for me was like perfect. So that's another one that I recommend. Remarkably Bright Creatures can be read anytime during the year, but I think just this cover gives summer. What I recommend, I just read this year. It is the most recent Hunger Games book called Sunrise on the Reaping. I'm sure you guys heard so many things about it by now. It's heavy, it's emotional. But if you are a millennial like me, or just someone who appreciates the feeling of nostalgia, oh my gosh, please read this one. Haymitch is the ride or die character from Hunger Games, like the best character in the entire series. And just reading and learning like his story from his point of view of being in the Hunger Games himself was just heartbreaking and beautifully tragic. So, you know, the word sunrise is kind of what made me want to pick it for like summer. But you know, it's not as lovey-dovey as we wish his outcome and life has become. It's not as lovely as we wish his life to be, you know? If you know, you know. But even the Hunger Games as a whole to read in the summer, I think would be like fun to read as a summer series. So I also recommend the Hunger Games too, or Divergent. I also do love Divergent. I really do like dystopia books. That one is like also just as action packed as Hunger Games, I guess, with like a little less heartbreaking emotions, just because the Hunger Games is obviously a world of chaos and utter destruction, like literally, and people's lives are literally in danger. So yeah, check out Sunrise on the Reaping if you already read the Hunger Games. I think you should read the Hunger Games to have a deeper appreciation before getting into Haymitch's story, because the full circle moment is just, it's absolutely beautiful, and you have a deeper appreciation for that. This other book I do also want to reread. It's one that I don't have with me at the moment. It's in my storage unit with other books that I miss seeing every day. But you know, out with the old and in with the new to make room for new books. And that is The Vanishing Half. Again, the cover with the colors is so beautiful and vibrant. And so this story is about twin sisters who ran away from their small black town community. It takes place in a different year, like I forgot what year specifically, but a long time ago. And so they are twin sisters who decide to just like step away and leave their small town community, and they kind of just have their own lives going on. But one of the twins decides to, start and have their life differently from the other sister. It plays a huge part with race and acceptance and just everything that goes along with that. I do remember like really enjoying that story back when I did read it, and again I do want to reread it to just see if I have the same appreciation for it, which I'm sure I will, and to better understand the story. But yeah, I remember loving it, and it's a book that I do recommend. That I recommend, as I said earlier, Frederick Bachman is my ride or die author. Absolutely love him. And I always recommend this book to read, Anxious People, as the first book to read to get into the author, just because it's something that everybody can extremely relate to, and it takes a huge toll on mental health and anxiety representation in the most beautiful way. So look up the trigger warnings for it, because it does touch on sensitive subjects that you may just want to have a heads up about to see if you're comfortable reading it. But it's written in such a cool format, so different, and I saw the Netflix adaptation for it and I didn't have a problem with it. And then there's a new one coming to the US for that. And I'm so excited to see that come to fruition. I cannot wait. It's one of my favorites. And so that leads me into my summer TBR, because his new book, my friends, is on my to be read list, hopefully this summer. I am going to start it soon. I know. I have Lessons in Chemistry on my TBR for this summer. I just heard really, really good things about it since day one of it coming out. I've heard a lot of people say, hey, if you like Gilmore Girls, which is my comfort show all year long, you would like this book. And I believe the series is also on Apple TV that I'll probably check out. And I know she's a hardcover, and I just said, I don't really do hardcovers, I do paperback. But I've been in a much better place by not buying hardcovers immediately like I used to. So this book has been on my shelf probably ever since it came out, which is why it's the hardcover edition. So I've had her for quite some time. And I think this cover is so simple, and she's so cute. And this little like beautiful coral orangish color. Give summer. So yeah, those two are on my TBR list. And then over here I have the Query Girls. Just to throw in, a thriller in between all the romance books and everything. And I don't remember like the last actual thriller book that I read. I'm pretty sure it was back in December. It was like a Christmas thriller book that I was reading, and it was cool because it was done in like an advent calendar kind of way, except with chapters. So you read a chapter every day leading up to Christmas. So that was probably like the most recent and last thriller book that I actually read. I've heard good things about this one, and the ending like kind of falling flat. I hope that isn't the case for me, but if I agree with that opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if I feel the same way. Oh, sorry, Bear. So yeah, I want to get into the Query Girls. And what else is on my TBR? If I were to continue listening to audiobooks, should I decide not to give it a break, even though I think I will, I want to listen to Tom Lake. Meryl Streep does the narration for it, And I love Meryl Streep. She is queen. Oh my gosh. Her soothing and calming voice in my ears would just be amazing for the summertime. And I've heard nothing but really good things about this book. If I were to stay on my audiobook kick, it would be with Tom Lake or another memoir. If not, we can pause on audiobooks and pick up my Kindle if anything. So the Kindle book that I have is The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose on my TBR. I've heard 50-50 things about that the series. I think her new one just came out, like a duology. It's like The Perfect Marriage and then The Perfect Divorce. I hear good things about Geneva Rose. I hear good things about her as an author. I just worry with like thrillers that I've either read like heavier ones with crazier plot twists. So like when I was reading Frida McFadden for a little bit, like nothing came as a surprise to me except her best one, in my opinion, is Never Lie. Take that as another summer 2025 book recommendation, if you will, because I think that is personally her best one. And I wasn't too crazy about The Housemaid, but I think I'm still going to watch the movie whenever that comes out. Just a little side tangent. So I think that's pretty much it for this video. Those are all my 2025 summer book recommendations for you to add to your list and check it out. I am not the best with describing books after the fact that I have read them. So I apologize if, my summaries weren't the best one, but at least take them into consideration and look up the book summaries and see if you like it. And those are the books on my summer TBR that I hope to get to by spreading them out cohesively throughout the months. So I got to work on my June hopefuls because I like to break them down month by month. And that's pretty much it. So if you like these bookish type videos, feel free to hit that subscribe button or follow me on my bookstagram. I'll leave it in the description below. I'm pretty much active on that one in comparison to all the other apps. I do have a booktok as well, but bookstagram is where I am the most active. You can find me on there. You can also follow me on my Goodreads, which will be there as well, so that you can stay up to date with my current reads. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching and listening to me ramble about this specific video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!